In this lecture, we are going to shift our focus to the templates of our theme. Thus far, we've been prepping the editor and asset files. We can finally start converting our template from a static HTML file to a series of blocks. There are two options at our disposal. We can try creating our template with blocks from WordPress, or we can create custom blocks. For this course, we're going to explore both options. It might seem like you should create custom blocks, but that's not always necessary. You'd be surprised with how much WordPress can help you with its default set of blocks. Our first goal will be to split our template into multiple files. At the moment, I'm looking at the index.html template file. The index template file is over 500 lines of code. It's a lot of code to manage. Before proceeding further with the course, we should start optimizing our code. As you know, I don't like to deal with large files. It's much more optimal to break files into smaller pieces. There's another benefit to splitting templates into multiple files. It allows us to reuse sections of a template. In the future, we're going to be creating numerous templates. Templates should be split into multiple pieces for manageability and reusability. The question is, how? Out of the box, WordPress provides a feature for splitting templates into pieces called template parts. Before splitting the template into separate files, we need to identify which sections should be placed in a separate file. In my browser, I have the home page opened. Our theme should look consistent. It's normal for the header and footer to look the same on every page. We can put each section into separate files. We'll be able to reuse them for different templates. It's also going to make development easier. If we change one section, the changes will be reflected on all pages. We won't have to shift through dozens of templates to apply the same changes. Let's get started. Switch back to your editor. We're going to create template parts. A template part is an HTML file representing a section of a template. By themselves, template parts are not responsible for rendering an entire page. Typically, they are included in a template. It's not required to use template parts. However, they were introduced for easily maintaining templates. Template parts can be created by creating a folder in our theme called Parts. Let's create this folder in our theme. Next, we're going to create two files called header.html and footer.html. Unlike templates, file names for template parts are flexible. We can call these files whatever we want. I highly recommend using short, concise, and descriptive names. In our case, we're creating template parts for our template's header and footer sections. The same rules for templates apply to template parts. We should only use blocks. Raw HTML is not allowed. Therefore, let's create the blocks with the full site editor. Afterward, we'll paste the blocks over to our templates. Once again, this is not necessary. You can manually create blocks in your editor. However, it's easier and safer to let WordPress create blocks. Switch over to the full site editor. Let's empty out the HTML block. Next, we're going to add two more HTML blocks. In total, we have 3 empty HTML blocks. Time to add content for each block. Switch over to the index.html template file. Inside this file, we're going to copy the header, main content, and footer sections into each HTML block. For extra clarity, everything inside the header tag should be in the first block. Everything inside the main tags should be in the second block. Lastly, everything inside the footer tags should be in the third block. I'm going to quickly move everything over. Awesome. We're almost done. Time to move the blocks into the templates. Starting with the first block, copy the block to your clipboard. In our text editor, we're going to paste the block into the header.html file. We will repeat the process for the second block. The second block should completely replace the contents of the index.html file. Lastly, we will copy the third block. This block should be pasted into the footer.html file. The final step is to load these template parts. By default, template parts are not loaded into a template. Therefore, our template is going to be partially broken. Luckily, WordPress has a block for tackling this problem. Back in the browser, we are going to refresh the page without saving the template. If you accidentally saved the template, revert the changes to the original template. After you've got that sorted, you should notice that the contents of the HTML block have changed. It's missing the header and footer tags. That's perfect. Below and above the HTML block, insert a block called template part. The template part block is capable of loading a template part. We have the option of creating a custom template part or choosing a template part from our theme. Let's click on the Choose option for the first block. As you can see, WordPress has found our theme's template parts. This is why creating the parts folder is important. If our theme has this folder, WordPress will be able to locate our theme's template parts. The previews will be broken. That's to be expected. Our CSS is loaded on the front end. The editor will not load the styles. In a future lecture, we will fix this. For now, let's select the header template part. After doing so, the HTML block from the template part has been loaded. Let's do the same for the second template part block. This time, this block should load the footer template part. Perfect. We're almost finished. The next step is to add these blocks to our template. We can do what we did before. We can copy the blocks to our clipboard. Unlike before, we're not going to use the toolbar. During this course, we're going to be working with multiple blocks. It can be easy to select a block accidentally. To avoid this problem from occurring, we can open the List View sidebar to accurately select a block. Let's select the template part. Don't select the HTML block. After doing so, you can copy the block from the drop-down menu. I'm going to copy the header template part. Next, switch over to the index.html file. Above the current HTML block, we're going to paste the template part above the block. Unlike before, the HTML block does not get pasted. WordPress will detect that we're loading a template block. The blocks from the template part will be loaded in this location. You'll see how it works in a moment. Let's grab the footer template part. This template part should be pasted at the bottom of the index.html file. Time to test our work. On the front end, refresh the page. Awesome. The template hasn't changed one bit. Our page is fully functional. We have the benefit of modifying either the header or footer. Any changes we make will be reflected on all pages. By isolating each section into separate files, we can focus on a specific section. It's an optional but recommended step. Let's continue working on our theme in the next lecture.